Hi, my name is Matt Skroch. I'm the director at the Arizona Wilderness Coalition. It is Monday, June 20th, and welcome back to my weekly webcast. The issue I'd like to talk to folks today about is the historical fire behavior that we're currently observing throughout Arizona. I'd like to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about those fires, some of the root causes behind these fires, and what we'd like to see going into the future related to forest health and forest restoration. Right now we have the Wallow Fire in eastern Arizona, as most people know, is currently just topped 500,000 acres, making it the largest wildland fire complex in the history of our state. We have the Horseshoe 2 fire that just topped 200,000 acres, burning almost the entire range of the Chiricahua Mountains in the Sky Island region. And in the same region, we have the Monument Fire currently threatening structures in Sierra Vista, burning around 25 to 30,000 acres as of today. And we've just finished with the Murphy Peak Fire in the Tumacacori Highlands, which burned essentially that entire mountain range, right at about 70 or 80,000 acres. So the fires have really prompted questions about what caused these fires, who's responsible, and we'd like to take the opportunity to just briefly talk about what's gone into making these fires so prolific and so dangerous. The first thing that we need to recognize is that we're in historical drought conditions right now. The meteorological record currently tells us that we haven't seen drought conditions like this in the historical record in eastern and southeastern Arizona. It's extremely dry with woody fuel buildup and dry conditions, and the winds that have been raging over the last week or two. It is actually little surprise that we're seeing fires behave like they are today. That's really the number one cause here. We're not going to point to litigation or environmental laws or anybody's individual fault here on these fires. It is what it is, and we've seen a consistent drying trend over the southwestern United States that's occurred over the last couple of decades, along with increased temperatures, and this has been a root cause of the fires. We also have historical fuel buildup, and the January freeze that shook the Southwest didn't help at all. That freeze killed a lot of plant material across the mountains. That just added to the fuel buildup in our forests, and with human ignitions that have occurred in all of these fires, we're getting the behavior that we're seeing now. I want to make a distinction though. If we go back to the Rodeo Chetaskai fire of 2002, that fire, which burned about 460,000 acres, took out roughly around 400 residencies. Fortunately, not to minimize it, but fortunately we have only seen about 10% of that number destroyed by the Wallow Fire in eastern Arizona, which is a similar vicinity as the Rodeo Chetaskai. And I think that the point here is that actually a lot of good things have happened in terms of forest management over the last decade or so. Conservationists, the timber industry, and government agencies have come together and actually found a lot of agreement on how we need to move forward with protecting communities, creating defensible space, and minimizing fire danger if and when fires come in close proximity to towns or suburbs. And we've put a lot of resources into thinning projects, stewardship projects, prescribed burning, and I think that the fact that we have just about 10% of the damage today as a result of the Wallow Fire in particular, as compared to a decade ago with Rodeo Chetaskai, is testament to the fact that there actually has been a lot of work at the wildland-urban interface between communities and the forests. And that's an important point for us to consider in light of some finger pointing that's occurred recently and people laying blame to various individuals or organizations or communities as to whose fault these fires are. The Four Forests Initiative, the White Mountain Stewardship Contract, the Firescape Project in southeastern Arizona. These are actually projects that are supported across different communities and different stakeholders and interests. People are agreeing on going in and mechanically thinning forests. They're agreeing on applying prescribed burns. And that in part is responsible for less losses relative to if these fires had ignited more than 10 years ago or so. That's an important point. Now going forward, clearly these fires are going to be prompting a lot more questions about what to do in regards to forest restoration and forest management. The Arizona Wilderness Coalition would really like to emphasize the importance that we have some really great collaborative projects currently in the mix by partner organizations such as Grand Canyon Wildlands Council, Center for Biological Diversity, and folks out of Northern Arizona University who are bringing the best science to bear on how to restore our forests. And when we get down to it, restoring an acre of land involves removing hundreds of small saplings and small trees. It's not a project that is going to happen overnight. And so we're hopeful that over the convening years, we're going to see more and more projects that are not only provide forests that are safer for communities and reduce the risk of catastrophic fire, but actually improve the ecosystem as well. Now the Wallow Fire and the Chiricahua Horseshoe 2 fire, essentially all these fires are burning really, really hot, and the jury's still out on what the ecological consequences of those fires are going to be. We'll find out, but we really urge viewers and our members to take a look underneath the covers here and recognize that the great work that is going into creating a more collaborative approach to forest restoration, and realize that with climate change and these drought conditions we're facing, we shouldn't be pointing the fingers at communities of people or particular stakeholders. So with that, I hope that the folks that are affected or have friends and family affected by the fire, our thoughts and prayers go out to them. We have close friends affected by these fires, and we certainly hope for the best in the convening weeks and months leading up to the rains, into the monsoons, which ultimately are going to be the thing that stop these fires. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.